Alright, this is Terry again. Now we're working with Images and More. So we want to do some images, text wrap, snipping tool, and use of column and section breaks. And the section breaks will be important for doing things like page numbering. So you'll see that when we get there. So what do I want to do? I'm going to go back to my document here. And I just I have all this information pasted in, and maybe what I want to do is put a picture in, and let's say that right here we decide that we want to talk about a video that's on the History Channel that you think people should go watch. You're going to give them the URL address, and you want to put a picture so they know what they're looking for when they get there. So I'll go to the History Channel here, and let's say that you want to have this Vietnam War history in this image so that people can see it. Well, one way to get it would be to use the screen capture, the print screen button, but you get the whole screen, and it's just a little nicer if you go down to your Windows button in the bottom left, and if you have the snipping tool, which you should have on all the Cabrillo campus. Alternatively, if you go to All Programs, Accessories, then the snipping tool should be there. And so I'm going to say that I want a new snip. It turns this white, and I can go in and with the crosshairs pick out just exactly what I want. Right? Let me do that again here. So I'm going to snip and say that I want that much. So now that becomes an image. I can either save it, so I can do File and Save, or I'm just going to go Edit and Copy. So Edit, Copy. Then I'm going to go back to my document, and I'm going to do Control V to paste that in, and I now have the image. I can resize the image, right? So I can make it a little bit smaller. If I want to, then I can go back in and click on my contextual tab at the top where it says Picture Tools and Format. Click on the crop button, and I could make this just a little nicer by taking that guy's arm out of the way. And again, if you want to make this a little more square, you may, right? You just want to give them a visual cue. And then when I click the crop again, it turns it off. While I'm there, I'll put a shadow in. And at this point, on the left hand side probably isn't the best place, and you can't really move it around because it's wherever your mouse insertion was, and you miss all this white space here. That just isn't good. So with the picture highlighted and having the handles on it, then you can click on the Format tab, go to Wrap Text, and probably use Tight. And Tight then allows you, notice that the lines of text split, and so you want to be to the left side or to the right side. So I typically push it to the right margin here, and then deselect it outside, and then you've got that image in there that your text here then could read. It wraps around the picture. There's more advanced things too that you could set how close to that picture, but just use the presets that come with Word, and then you don't have to worry about it. Alright, alternatively, if I go back to this side, I know that there was a bunch of pictures, and so we can go look at the different galleries. I was specifically looking for a picture that I saw earlier, and there's a gallery here, and we'll get rid of my email message, and then this particular picture, because it's dark, this actually was the 4 students at the Kent State massacre. Kent State, Ohio, were killed. The 2 middle ones were physically at the rally, but the gentleman, William Schrader on the left, and the Sandra Lee Schuer, I think was her name, on the right hand side, they were just walking between classes, and when the fight broke out on the Kent State campus, they were killed just because they were walking between campuses. So it's quite a story unto itself. But I want to take that image and then specifically show you how you can lighten it up. So I'm going to right click and say copy the image. then I'm going to go back to my document, and let's say that I want to put it right here. I'll hit the Control V to paste. Again, I can go to my format and I can crop it. Whoops, hit the crop button, and I can get rid of some of this unnecessary white space. And let's see what else I got going here. There's my crop. You have to have those little black lines, those crop lines, to be able to pull them in. Then when you click outside, it gets rid of the crop. Again, with it highlighted, I'm going to put a shadow in there. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller here. And then again, I'll format my text position and put it tight and put it over here on the right hand side. Now with that highlighted, I can go up to the top, and where it says correction, then I can take, and with the center picture will be the way it is now as it was brought in. If you move these over, you can see that you can change the brightness and the contrast, and so you can pick and choose. If you get an image that isn't just quite as what you want, there's the original, maybe a little lighter, maybe somewhere in there, something like that. So again, you just pick and choose the one that you think is right, that makes it stand out, so you have a little bit of editing possibilities. All right, the next topic then is in this text that I had written, there was a section where it was then and now, then and now, then and now. And let's say that what I want to do is put that into a column format. So I'm going to put a Control Enter just to force it on the next page for demonstration purposes, and kind of get this set up so it'll look a little easier. If I want to put something in the columns, I click where my starting point is. I go down to my ending point, hold down the Shift key, and click. And that's going to select a range. And even if it goes across pages, by doing it that way, it'll be easy to do. Then I'm going to go up to my page layout and choose columns, and then with my columns select that I want it in 2 columns. So now I have more of a newspaper. The issue becomes then that I don't want the then and nows to cross over. I don't want this orphan text. So what I can do is say, where do I want the next column to start? So I want the then and the nows to stay together, then the nows. So I go to this then, and then I go up to the top to breaks and say I want a column break. And what it does is forces the columns to readjust themselves, that it's explicitly starting the next column here, right? So wherever you put it, it's going to force these columns, and then they'll balance out the best they can. This becomes a nice little area that's going to be a dead space in between your next part of your paper. So this becomes yet another place. Let's snag another picture, and I'm going to copy the image and place it here. And at this point, what I can do with my formatting is say that I want to have it in front of the text or behind the text, and that way I can move this wherever I want. If it's in front of the text, if it's behind the text, right, then the text goes over the top. I'll put in front, and then when I get this little dead space, I can take this picture and try and fill up some of that dead space, just so it's more visually appealing, right? And just makes the whole page look just a little bit better. Or come around and put a bigger page going all the way across, or bigger image, whatever it is you want to do, right? So I will just put this back in its spot. All right, if you decide later that you don't want those columns, you can simply highlight it, go back to the page layout, go back to columns, and just put it back into one column. All right, when we put this into columns, what happened is it put in some codes that you can't see, that are invisible, that made this part section 1, it made the columns section 2, and made the rest of your paper section 3. And what that allows you to do is, because you have different sections, then you can format them differently. So that allowed us to put in the columns. By putting in the columns, the computer automatically did it. Where this comes into play is at the very top of our article.